poetry. Do you know this word, poetry? Poetry is when it's like a song, but there's no music. And all the lines, they often rhyme. They have the same sound at the end. Okay? We've got some poetry here. So you've got some poems, like T.S. Eliot. And it looks a little bit like this. Uh-huh. Okay. Great. Okay, last one.
Frying pan. What do we use a frying pan for? Frying something, for example. Potatoes. You could slice up potatoes, put them in, fry them. It's normally quite large and flat, and you cook with it on the hob. If you want to fry an egg, for example, you would use a frying pan. Saucepan. Saucepan, yeah. Saucepan is a small pot that you would use on the hob to make a sauce in fact, but you can use it for other things. Okay, so if you imagine this is a frying pan, quite shallow and large, a saucepan is quite, well, it's bigger than that. It's more that shape. Okay, and then a larger one we would call, I would call that a pot, a bigger pot, yeah. Stir. Stir is when you turn something with a spoon. If you put sugar in your coffee, you stir your coffee. What else? Scramble. Scramble. What do we scramble? It means to mix it up. So almost always what we scramble is eggs. If we're cooking eggs, sometimes we mix them up in the pan. You scramble them. Slice is when you cut like this. This is quite technical, so watch. Okay, as opposed to chop, which is this. Slice, chop. There was another. Yes, what else is there that you're not sure of?
Grate.
Beat. Beat and grate. Okay. We beat eggs, which means we hit them like that as we're stirring. Grate. Yes. What do we normally grate? Cheese. Grate cheese. And we grate cheese so that we can sprinkle it on
pasta.
On pasta or pizza. So we make very small slices of cheese by grating it. What's the difference between bitter and sour?
Sour has a best taste. A better taste.
A lemon is sour. It tastes quite nice. Coffee is a little bit bitter. Tastes quite nice. If you eat something sour, it makes you do this. Like vinegar or lemons. If you eat something bitter, you do that. So if your coffee is too strong, it's too bitter.
Number 7, the future of federal funding is up in the air. What does that phrase mean, up in the air?
Still a dream nowhere.
Say again.
Like still a dream is not real.
Yes, so we don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. So can you think of one word that says that? The future is... we're not sure what's going to happen. What's a more formal word than for sure?
Sure.
More formal rather than the opposite. I'm sure, I'm...
Definite?
Or so... Lovely. And the opposite? That's it. Yeah, so the future is uncertain. Uncertain.
Has anybody, Idmar, have you got anything for it seems? I think. It looks, maybe you could say something, it appears, maybe it looks as if, or it looks like, would be great. It's likely that, yes, so it seems, that's great. And what's the adjective for appears? Adverb apparently would be great as well. No, that's lovely. That was where I was trying to get to. Apparently and apparent, so you could say apparently instead of it seems that. Increasing. rising, getting more, getting bigger, getting larger would be lovely. Growing would also be lovely. Going up. Change, yeah, definitely. Changing.
To the other
And seeing other people is reassuring as well. That's pretty similar to what I do.
What's your reaction to the clips we've just been watching about vocabulary teaching?
I think it's interesting to see the variety of ways in which we all teach vocabulary, and I never realised that I use that many different ways myself.
There's a contrast between some of the techniques you use where you're actually teaching vocabulary and some of the other clips where teachers are trying to get the vocabulary from the students. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think it's important to elicit vocabulary sometimes, and what's important is making a memorable experience when that word is learned. So if you elicit it and somebody gets it, then they're going to remember getting that. They're going to feel a bit chuffed, and they're going to think, oh, I guessed that word and I didn't really know it, so I feel good about it. Or even, how did he get that word? And the person next to him might remember that.
And so the fact that it's memorable actually helps students to understand or remember or feel good about?
I think it gives them reference points if they have memorable images or feelings while this is all happening. There's words that they won't remember because they won't need to remember or won't want to remember, but there'll be events that happen in the classroom with words that they want to know, and they can attach them to those events.
In your clip, we watched you using a number of different techniques to present various vocabulary items. How do you decide which one to use?
It's quite a spontaneous decision. It's not something planned. Obviously, certain words lend themselves to mime, such as beating an egg. And for example, frying pan doesn't particularly lend itself to a mime because that could be anything, so I'll pick up a pen and draw it. I might try and mime it first because I don't have a pen in my hand, but obviously while I'm doing that I'm thinking they're not seeing a frying pan, so I'll try and draw it on the board. I'm not a great artist, but you can roughly do the outline.
A lot of this then is just reacting to what's happening at the moment it's happening. That's what teachers do.
Yeah, absolutely. And reacting to what you're doing as well, reacting to the information that you know you're giving or not giving.
We saw you do drawing and miming, and you used facial expressions, and you used various explanation techniques. Is any of those your favourite, or do you like doing them all?
It's just what happens, really. I quite like making noises as well. I don't know how successful it is, but the beating of an egg, for example, it's natural for me just to go, just to add it to the action of that. It's nice to be able to perform a little bit and do a little mime and a noise and things like that, if it's appropriate for the work.